Stack you hard, fool.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Along with Firearms Training. I am your host, Juan J. Johnson, coming at you live on this 20th day of May. 20th day of May. Looking forward to having an amazing conversation with you on today. I'm seeing that my internet looks like it could be a little unstable from what it's telling me. If you are hearing me, I've had to adjust some of the features to make sure that my settings are open to the public because they keep making my stuff private. We're going to have a great conversation on tonight. Tonight is a special night, a night that I believe that we need to put some respect on Malcolm X, Malik El-Shabazz, Malcolm X in his own words. Malcolm X in the era of Senior Airman Roger Fortson. We're going to connect some dots on tonight because I believe that we're in some very interesting times, 1964. And we're only 60 years from, it's only been from 1964 to 2024, it's only been 60 years, family. 60 years, okay? And a lot has changed and a lot hasn't changed. Actually, a lot still remains the same. So again, looking forward to having an amazing conversation with you on tonight. We're going to discuss Malcolm X. Why would we discuss Malcolm X? Because Malcolm X, if he was alive today, he would have turned 99 years old on May 19th, which was yesterday. We're going to go over some of his speeches, namely the ballot or the bullet, which came out in 1964, April of 1964. Why is that important? Because this is 2024, some 60 years later. And I'm going to allow Malcolm to speak in his own words of the condition of Black Americans in 1964 and the conditions of Black Americans in 2024. I'm going to try to connect the dots between Malcolm X and our recently deceased airman, Senior Airman Roger Fortson, whose funeral was on Friday of last week. And the silence from the dominant society is deafening. The silence from Black America is deafening. The silence from the nation is deafening. The silence from the world is deafening. I'm going to need you to share this video. I'm going to need you to like this video. I'm going to need you to subscribe to the platform that you see this video on. I am hoping that I am broadcasting. Again, I'm just hoping and praying that I'm broadcasting. But I'm going to need you to, again, share this video, invite a friend, invite family, and let's have this discussion about Malcolm X. Let's have this discussion about Malcolm. Again, next year this time, it will be the 100th observation anniversary of Malcolm X. But again, this is number 99. And I feel compelled to say something because, again, I see nowhere on your legacy network stations, on your traditional stations, I see nowhere on your social media platforms. Nobody talked about Malcolm. It was hard pressed for me to find anybody to say anything about Malcolm X. Now watch this. I don't expect the dominant culture to talk on Malcolm because he's from us. He's Black American. He's foundational Black American. He's Native, Indigenous Black American. He's an American descendant of the enslaved. Okay. It is up to us to say something about Malcolm X. Okay? It's up to us. Nobody else can put the respect on Malcolm or any of our heroes and sheroes but Black Americans. So again, I'm going to play some speeches and let Malcolm speak, and I will interrupt and do some narrating from time to time. But we need to know just where we are and where we need to go. What Malcolm said in 64, you would think he was right here in 2024. That lets you know just how much things have not changed. Okay. Again, I need you to, if you're hearing me, if you're seeing me, I'm gonna need you to share this video, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to make a donation, you can too. Again, I titled this Malcolm X in the Era of Senior Airman Roger Fortson. Cannot leave Roger Fortson out of the equation. Why would I link the Malcolm X and Roger in the same sentence? I'm gonna show you some parallels between 64 and 2024 that you may not be aware of. So with that said, let's take this journey. For those who were not familiar with Malcolm, on the other platforms where you're viewing me, Malcolm X delivered the speech, the ballot or the bullets in April 3rd of 1964 in Cleveland, Ohio. Okay? At this time, the civil rights movement was gaining momentum, family. It was picking up steam. Okay? And Malcolm X was emerging as a prominent voice within the struggle for racial equality. The speech was delivered at the time when Black America was still facing systematic racism and oppression, despite some legislative, gains, such as the Civil Rights Bill of 1964. So if you think about this, family, Malcolm at that time, well, let me just keep going. Now, to understand the Civil Rights Bill of 1964, which was for, if we can say it, this was actually Black America's bill. This again, it was Black America's bill. Okay? The bill prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, okay, color, religion, sex, national origin, okay? And these provisions of the Civil Rights Bill, the provisions, okay, of this bill acted to forbid discrimination on the basis of sex as well. Race hiring, promotions, and firing people, family. So when you fast forward to 2024, what the Civil Rights Bill has done for America, all those who were not foundational Black Americans, all those who are immigrants who've gone through the whole visa process to obtain their citizenship, all those who are illegal aliens, also known as immigrants or migrants. Let's say migrants, because every immigrant is not illegal. So we go with migrant, okay? Because of the passage of the Civil Rights Bill of 1964, right? You could not discriminate on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. I think that when people from other countries come here and enjoy the rights and the privileges that's afforded to every American, they forget that those whose blood is in the soil, right? Black Americans, white Americans. But those Black Americans whose blood is in the soil is responsible for these rights that they themselves are benefiting from. Okay? So if you're Latino, okay, if you're indigenous Indian, because a lot of those indigenous Indians were not on the front line during the Civil Rights era. Let's keep it 100. You didn't see them out there. You saw Black people, Black Americans out here getting bit by dogs, getting water hosed by the police, and getting beat in the head with clubs and being suffocated with those tear gas bombs. Those was our ancestors, our people, okay? Our people. Black Americans are responsible for the Civil Rights Bill, okay? Black Americans. If we keep it 100, all right? I don't let no people of color try to cosplay and hijack the progress or the struggles of my foundational Black American indigenous family. We are exceptional, we are unique, and we are, as Kendrick Lamar's new record, they are not like us. And they know they're not like us. And that is why they go out their way to be us, to hitch themselves to us, because there's something uniquely different and special about Black Americans, whether in this country or outside this country when we're traveling. So again, the Civil Rights Bill of 1964, family, was something birthed out of Black struggle, out of Black blood in the soil, out of Black assaults. Okay? Let's keep it 100. And now that we have all these people from other places coming and taking part in the American dream, they've gone out their way to try to undo what we fought for our people. It's almost like it's like a thanklessness to them that you come here Yeah, you come here. You come here and look down on the very people who made it possible for you to be here. Okay? It's disrespectful. You don't see Black Americans going to no other country in this world trying to project their mindsets, their beliefs on other cultures. When we travel throughout this world, we go and we pay respect to the country and the people. Okay? But only in this world in America. Others with no sacrifice, with no blood in the soil, come to America and try to tell Black Americans what to do. You're out of order and you're out of line. You're out of order and you're out of line. So with that said, you still accept the benefits of the bills, but you're disrespectful. Okay? But let me move on, because I want to get to some of these speeches from Malcolm. Just want to give you some context. For those who don't know, that Malcolm was eventually put out of the Nation of Islam on December 1st, 1963, when asked to comment on the assassination of JFK, that's John F. Kennedy. Malcolm X said that it was a case of the chickens coming home to roost. What does that mean? Why do you say that? And who shut him down? Elijah Muhammad put out a statement to everybody in the nation that JFK, that John F. Kennedy was a loved man. And he didn't want nobody to speak out against him, speak about the assassination of JFK. And Malcolm did just the opposite. He spoke. Okay? He said, the chickens have come home to roost. And with that one statement, he was silenced. Okay? But by March 8th, 1964, Malcolm publicly announced his break from the Nation of Islam. Though still a Muslim, right? He felt that the nation has gone as far as it could go. And sometimes, family, we're in these relationships, in these organizations that we know that they've gone as far as they can go, that they've been doing the same thing over and over and over again. Quote unquote, the Black church. Quote unquote, these civil rights organizations. They've gone as far as they can go. The NAACP, NAN, Urban League, Rainbow Push Coalition, any and every one of the outdated, right, civil rights organizations that we cherish so much, that we love so much. We've got to come to the realization that some have overstayed their relevance. And Malcolm was smart enough and wise enough to see that the Nation of Islam could go no further with him there. They can do their thing, but he had a bigger picture. Okay? Okay? And in having that bigger picture, he left the nation and founded Muslim Mosque Inc., a religious organization. All right? And he also founded the OAAU, the Organization of Afro-American Unity, a secular group that advocated for Pan-Africanism. But let me deal with that Muslim Mosque Inc. Because Malcolm, although he was very socially conscious, he also realized this: he had to have a place for him to worship, to pray, to seek the face of God. So him leaving the Nation of Islam, he formed Muslim Mosque Inc. for those who still wanted to have that connection with the divine. Okay? But he also realized this, that Muslim Mosque Inc. had to be different from the OAAU, which is the Organization of Afro-American Unity. That was an offshoot of the Organization of African Unity out of Africa that he was inspired from, that dealt with the social issues. Okay, the social issues in the nation. See, I think what happens is this: a lot of our spiritual brothers, they're so spiritual, right, that they only focus on spiritual things, but they don't know how to fight multiple wars. And Malcolm has always said we have to be able to fight multiple wars. Okay, so the Muslim Mosque Inc. was for his religion, for his relationship with the Creator, and OAAU dealt with the social issues, the Pan-African movement. Okay, which I'm gonna say this have served this purpose. Okay, I know Pan-Africanism and the movement was dedicated to establishing independence from African nations and to cultivate unity among Black people throughout the world. Okay, that's what the Pan-African movement was all about: bringing together African nations and cultivating unity. And that was in 1960. That was in 1964. This is 2024, some 60 years later, and it hasn't happened yet. Where's the unity? Where's the cultivating unity among the Black people throughout the world? It hasn't happened yet. Not that it has to happen overnight, but we're 60 years in. Okay? 60 years in. Again, when you understand Pan-Africanism, the idea that people of African descent have common interests and should be unified. They should be. Okay? Historically, Pan-Africanism has often taken to shape of political or cultural movements. But let me just deal with what it should be and what it is. Now, back in the 60s, in the 50s, in the 40s, and I would even dare say in the 70s, when they was really pushing this pan piece, the only ones I see or saw that was pushing it was Black Americans. You didn't really see the Africans on the continent pushing it. And if you fast forward to 2024, the very ones that we have been pushing for unity, when they come to America, they hold their nose up at us. They compete against us. Make some sense. All the crying, all the let's get together for Pan-Africanism, and then when they get here, because they wasn't here. It was Black Americans advocating for people, foreigners, to come to America, especially the Africans. It was us who advocated for them to come. Okay? And the dominant culture granted them the ability to come and set up shops and stores and to integrate into American society. But if you fast forward to 2024, look at how our African brothers and those from the continent are treating Black Americans, or I better say, look at the immigrants, the immigrant population, and look at how they are treating Black Americans to this day with no respect. None. I mean, the disrespect from our immigrant brothers and sisters towards us is at an all-time high. Okay? How do you look down on the people whose blood is in the soil, who made America great? I mean to say America's not great. I got hundreds, if not thousands, of ancestors' blood in the soil that made this country what it is. That freedom of speech, that freedom of religion, okay? That freedom of the press, okay? That freedom of assembly, okay? That right to redress the government for grievances, huh? That was birthed out of us. That was birthed out of you. Don't have America without Black Americans. Let me say this again. You don't have America without Black Americans. Say this again to those in the back. You do not have America without Black Americans. Okay? We're gonna keep it 1,000. Gotta keep it above. People of color did not build America. Do you hear me? Huh? I'm gonna say it again. People of color, no matter how y'all trying to make us one big happy Negro or people of color did not build America. America was built by slaves, Black Americans, Negroes, coloreds, indigenous Black Americans. And I'll throw in a couple of African Americans, because everybody from America that's Black didn't, let me say this right, we all didn't come from Africa. Okay? And after being here for like 400 years, if you're going to say we got here in 1619, right? And 2019 made it 400 years, after we're talking about at least 4 centuries, family. Okay? What was left of our Africanness was left on them shores. And the irony is this, I'm trying to figure out, why do African people get upset with Black Americans when we tell them we're Black Americans? If the oldest bones known to man was found in the Nile Valley named Lucy, and in her DNA that you can trace everybody in the world to Africa, then damn it, we all African Americans. We all Africans. We all Africans. Asian Africans, Latino Africans, Russian Africans, okay? Australian Africans, Japan Africans, okay? We all Africans. But when you migrate and you begin to build your own culture, then you respect your culture. Irish Africans, Scottish Africans, everybody came from Lucy. The oldest bones known to man was a female out of the Nile Valley. The oldest bones in the world came from a Black African woman. So us being in America as Black Americans, we're not taking nothing away from nobody who says they're African Americans, or they don't, or if they don't want to be labeled as African Americans. African American, the title, it didn't even gain it only been around since 1988 when Jesse Jackson ran for president. 84, 88? When he felt the need to invoke African Americans into the equation. We was Negroes. Negroes. When you look at the Constitution, the bills, it talked about the Negro, the colored, the mulatto. Okay? notebook at? So just wanted to put that right there, okay? Because I want to get back to this whole Malcolm piece. So Malcolm is out of the nation. He's doing his own thing. He's founded Muslim Mosque Inc. He's also founded uh, the Organization of African American Unity. And now we have the trouble, the turmoil that takes place in 1964. What do you mean? Well, four girls was blown up in a church in 1964. And that's important, family, because we don't talk about the bombing of the church. We don't talk about the bombing of the church in 1964. We have a memory problem in the Black community. Dr. John Henry Clark said these words so eloquently. He said that a people who don't put respect on their ancestors, their offspring will not respect them. Say this again, that a people who do not respect their ancestors, your offspring won't respect you. And I say that to say this. Yesterday was the 99th birthday observation of Malcolm X. And I dare say that anybody in our collective said anything. Where was your civil rights leaders? Where was the preachers? Where was your business leaders? Somebody talk to me. Your historians, your Black networks, your social media platforms. We're always quoting Malcolm, right? But how come nobody had nothing to say about Malcolm on his 99th observation of his birthday? But let President Day come through, you celebrate for a whole week. Let George Washington Day come through, you celebrate. Let Jefferson's Day come through, you celebrate. Let Lincoln's Day come through, you celebrate. Okay? Let MLK's Day come, you celebrate. But Malcolm, the silence was golden. And the preachers, I'm so disappointed with the preachers. I'm so disappointed with the preachers. Why? Because they've been silent for so long, they've been compromised. They were silent on Malcolm's death, and they were silent on Senior Airman Roger Fortson, who was just buried last Friday after getting shot down like a dog in the street. But he was shot. He was shot in his house by a deputy 6 times. And the silence from the preachers and your civil rights leaders and any of your leaders has been golden. And the legacy networks, your Channel 7s, your ABCs, your NBCs, your Fox, your CNNs, your BBCs, your MPTs, your PBS, your Democracy Now! Why has it been silent for Malcolm X Day on Sunday, yesterday, and for the funeral of Senior Airman Roger Fortson, who was a 23-year-old medaled. He had a medal that was equivalent to a Bronze Star. And a Bronze Star is over a Purple Heart. Okay? And nobody said nothing. Help me out, family. This memory that we have is so short term that people can just do whatever they want to us because we don't remember, or we don't put the respect on our heroes, our sheroes, and those who've died trying to fight for us. We show them no respect. No respect. Again, the 4 young girls who died in the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing on September 15th, 1963. Okay. Where did anybody even discuss that? What did anybody even bring that up? Huh? Do we even talk about that? Hmm? At that time, also in 1964, right? The United States was deeply involved in the Vietnam War. So in 64, we was involved in the Vietnam War, a conflict that divided a nation and sparked widespread protests. Okay? So fast forward to 2024, where we're deeply involved in the Ukraine war against Russia. We are deeply involved in the war with Israel against the Palestinian. Okay? Look at the contrast. Look at the protests. Back then, Black Americans were protesting for civil rights. Now the Palestinians are protesting. But there's a big difference between the Palestinian protests and Black America protests. See, when we protested, we wasn't tearing shit up. We wasn't raising other flags. We were Americans. These folks are raising other flags, tearing up campuses. Okay? Staging sit-ins and they're lawbreakers. They're breaking the law. We didn't break the law. When we protested back in them 60s, we was suited, had our Sunday best on, wearing the ties. Okay? We was wearing our Sunday best. These folks are wearing masks. You don't know who they are. They're being disruptive. They're breaking the law. And then they would try to invoke the names and the quotes of the kings and the Rosa Parks and the Fannie Hamers to justify their inappropriate behavior because they want Black Americans to pick a side between, are you going to support the Palestinians or are you going to support the Israelites or the Israels, right? Well, where were both these parties doing in the 1960s? Or better yet, let's fast forward to 2024. Where is the outcry from the Palestinians and the Israels and the world about Senior Airman Roger Fortson, who was gunned down like a dog in his home? Where is the protest from Palestinians? Where's the protest from the Israelis? Where's the support from the Ukrainians? Where is the support from the nation about Black men and women being gunned down in the street? Where's our support? Come on now. Somebody talk to me. Where is the support for Black America? Huh? We just buried Senior Airman Roger Fortson on Friday for being shot down like a dog in his house. He did no wrong. He broke no law. And he was killed in cold blood. Where is the alliance? Where is the support? Where is the Palestinians and Israel for Black America? Somebody better talk to me. Where is the support from Israel and Black America? Huh? Where? Everybody demands Black American loyalty, but you give us no support. And everybody asks, what side are you taking? I'm on the side of Black America right now. Black Americans need to be put in a protective class, like yesterday. Okay? Am I right? Am I wrong? I tell you what. Again, let me stop talking. Let me put some Malcolm on in his own words. Like I said, we're gonna put some Malcolm on. On the next says, does Israel stand with Roger? That's a great question on their next Chef C. Does Israel stand with Roger Fortson? Does Palestinians stand with Roger Fortson? Does Israel stand with Black America? Huh? Can they go on a record and say Black Americans need to be put in a protective class? Why is that? Breonna Taylor. Remember that? We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Okay. Let me. Again, I want to put some of Malcolm in his own words. Play some Malcolm real quick so you can hear it. Let's. Does Ukraine stand with Roger? We need folks to go on the record. Does the Latino community stand with Roger? Because the irony is this. Watch this. George Floyd was a drug addict. Okay? And everybody was up in arms about George Floyd being killed. The knee on the neck. We see the pictures going around the globe with a white officer putting the knee into the neck of George Floyd, right? And you're hearing these words, I can't breathe, right? Right? Let's fast forward to 2024 with Airman, Senior Airman Roger Fortson, when he's holding up his left hand, right? His left hand, okay? Right hand holding the gun to his side with it pointed down. The police officer already had the gun out. Shoots him 6 times in the chest. We see the video, right? Where is the outrage? A 23-year-old young Black male who did everything right. He's getting no media coverage. I tell you, the silence is deafening. Who's giving the order to not support Senior Airman Roger Fortson, but support George Floyd? Okay? Let's hear some Malcolm. Let's hear some Malcolm real quick.
Mr. Moderator, Reverend Theme, brothers and sisters, and friends, and I see some enemies.
If you can hear it, give me a hand, give me a thumbs up.
In fact, I think we'd be fooling ourselves if we had an audience this large and didn't realize that there were some enemies present. This afternoon, we want to talk about the ballot or the bullet. The ballot or the bullet explains itself. But before we get into it, since this is the year of the ballot or the bullet, I would like to clarify some things that refer to me personally concerning my own personal position. I'm still a Muslim. That is, my religion is still Islam.
Now, family, this is 1964. This is just 60 years ago. Okay? Just 60 years ago.
My religion is still Islam. Incorporated, which has its offices in the Teresa Hotel right in the heart of Harlem. That's the Black Belt in New York City. And when we realize that Adam Clayton Powell is a Christian minister, he has the Abyssinia Baptist Church, but at the same time he's more famous for his political struggling. And Dr. King is a Christian minister from Atlanta, Georgia, but he's become more famous for being involved in the civil rights struggle. There's another in New York, Reverend Galamison. I don't know if you've heard of him out here. He's a Christian minister from Brooklyn, but has become famous for his fight against the segregated school system in Brooklyn. Reverend Cleave, right here, is a Christian minister here in Detroit. He's the head of the Freedom Now Party. All of these are Christian ministers. All of these are Christian ministers, but they don't come to us as Christian ministers. They come to us as fighters in some other category. I'm a Muslim minister. The same as they are Christian ministers, I'm a Muslim minister. And I don't believe in fighting today in any one front, but on all fronts. In fact,
Let me stop right there. Malcolm said something very, very profound, which our ministers, whether you're a pastor, a reverend, imam, he and those that he spoke of, Adam Clayton Powell, they spoke on social issues. Why is the silence so deafening from the pulpits in America? Why hasn't your minister or your imam, your reverend, your bishop, your elder, your reverend, again, your evangelist, your prophetess, your prophet, your teacher, why haven't they said nothing about the death of Senior Airman Roger Fortson? That's a social issue. How can they in good conscience know a young man, 23 years old, killed by the police in cold blood, okay, had one hand raised up saying stop? Where is the ministers? Where is your civil rights leaders? Your Reverend Al Sharpton? Yes, he spoke on Friday at the funeral. I heard him say a couple of words, but I haven't heard much since. Where's your civil rights organizations, your NAACPs, your urban leagues, your PUSH, Rainbows? Where are they at? Why haven't they said anything? And the Black community, you're not getting taken off the hook easily. Why haven't you said something? Where is the same outcry that you had for George Floyd, and you don't have the same thing for Senior Airman Roger Fortson? Who's telling you what to do? Who? Malcolm just said when we fight on multiple fronts. But you guys aren't even fighting. But you go to church every Sunday or every Tuesday or Wednesday or Friday, and you sit inside these cemeteries. That's what they are. They're like a seminary. Somebody just talking to you, but you're in the cemetery. And they say nothing. They don't warn you about what's going on out here in these streets. They're not informing you about the social issues, the social injustices taking place. How do you sit there every week, every day, every month, year after year, and listen to them say nothing about what? The crime, the killings, the COVID. Huh? How do you do it? In good conscience. Help me out. Senior Airman Roger Easton should be alive today. And every church in America should have said something in their pulpits on Sunday about the death of an innocent patriot. I said an innocent patriot who died at the hands of the police officer whose identity still has not been revealed. And you guys want us, the citizens, the community, to support you in your churches, and you say nothing about the injustices. Y'all crazy. You're crazy. But let's keep listening to Malcolm in his own words.
Black nationalist freedom fighter. Islam is my religion, but I believe my religion is my personal business. It governs my personal life, my personal morals, and my religious philosophy is personal between me and the God in whom I believe, just as the religious philosophy of these others is between them and the God in whom they believe. And this is best this way. Were we to come out here discussing religion, we'd have too many differences from the outstart, and we could never get together. So today, though Islam is my religious philosophy, my political, economic, and social philosophy is black nationalism. You and I, as I say, if we bring up religion, we'll have differences, we'll have arguments, we'll never be able to get together. But if we keep our religion at home, keep our religion in the closet, keep our religion between ourselves and our God, but when we come out here, we have a fight that's common to all of us against the enemy who is common to all of us. The political philosophy of black nationalism only means that the black man should control the politics and the politicians in his own community. The time when white people can come in our community and get us to vote for them so that they can be our political leaders and tell us what to do and what not to do is long gone.
Let me stop right there for 1 second. Because some of us got a problem with promoting black businesses, right? But as you can see every day from our current president, who has allowed millions of migrants, aka illegals, to come in here to undermine the black collective in getting jobs, in getting employment, and even in creating jobs. Everybody from other ethnicities or other countries know if you're going to come to America, you have to have an economic base, okay? Everybody practices some type of group economics for the survival of their collective, right? Black Americans have yet still to realize that we have been practicing black group economic suicide for decades. Say this again. We have been practicing black group economic suicide for decades. And now we're at a place in this 21st century where we're seeing that they're not even hiring black Americans, okay, for these jobs. Unemployment is up. We lead in unemployment, and we're not creating jobs. And the others, these people of color that we love so much, are not even hiring you in these jobs. Okay? Malcolm said it. You have to start practicing Black group economics for the survival of the collective. We've been lied to about this Black spending power, which means nothing if you're not creating jobs. If all you're doing is spending, not creating jobs, you are shooting yourself in the foot. You are practicing Black group economic suicide. If all we continue to do is to go work for somebody else and not create for our collective, we're not going to be around. We're not going to be around. And we can't blame nobody but ourselves if nobody else wants to hire us. And that is what they're doing. They're not hiring Black Americans. And the unemployment rate is we lead in unemployment. Okay, let me go back to the state.
By the same token, the time when that same white man, knowing that your eyes are too far open, can send another Negro into the community, get you and me to support him so he can use him to lead us astray, those days are long gone.
Let me stop right there. Because what we have right now among the Black Collective, aka CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus, and every politician that I've seen so far, they're on board with funding and passing bills and legislations for people of color and not Black Americans. And like Malcolm said, the days of us just voting for folks that look like us and they ignore us, they are practicing benign neglect towards us as a people, those days have got to come to an end. We can no longer put people in places to represent us when they intentionally ignore the needs of our collective. Intentionally. Look at what's going on out here in these streets right now with everybody getting a bill. Okay? LGBT, LBGT. Okay? Sanctuary cities. Okay? Even the Israelis have a bill. Okay? Transgenders have a bill. Everybody has a bill but us. Everybody's eating but us. Okay? And we keep electing these same officials who literally neglect us. That day has got to come to an end. And if y'all don't see that these folks don't care about us, if you don't see they don't care about us by now, you're blind. You're having eyes that can't see, and you got ears and you can't hear. And whatever happens to you, you deserve. Say this again. If we knowingly keep putting people in office who neglect the needs of their community, of our community, then we deserve what we get. We can no longer elect people to office that continually ignore the Black community. I keep seeing politicians giving everybody something but us. Everybody getting something but us. Us meaning Black Americans. And they do it. I mean, the CBC needs to be disbanded. The Congressional Black Caucus needs to go like yesterday. Okay? What are they doing for us? I don't see them. I don't see the Congressional Black Caucus. I do not see the Congressional Black Caucus advocating for Black Americans. They advocate for everybody but us. And those days of just putting people in places that look like us, it's over. It's over, family. And you shouldn't want to keep supporting these out of date politicians who've been around for 30, 40 years, and our situation has gotten worse. There's a scene in Batman Dark Knight, where I think the commissioner says either you die a villain, correction, either you die a hero, or you live long enough to be a villain. And some of our people that we respected the most, whether in the civil rights movement or politicians, right? They were heroes when they first got into office, but they overstayed their welcome. And they wind up the very thing that they had passed and got passed through legislation, they wind up undoing their very own bills. I think about Thurgood Marshall, who was an amazing lawyer when he was not on the Supreme Court. But when he got on the Supreme Court, he watched the erosion of his bills that he fought so hard for to pass. Okay? And I'm seeing nationwide, that our politicians don't even have the strength, the courage to even introduce legislation that would put Black Americans in a protective class. But they have an Asian bill, they have a Latino bill, they have a transgender bill, they have an LGBTQ bill. They putting everybody in protective classes but us. And these are our so-called politicians. We got to kick them out. Unless you don't mind just being treated like a stepchild. How is it that they can be at the forefront from somebody else's struggle, but not their own people? That's treason. That's a traitor. How do you betray your own people and make excuses for helping somebody else? Again, after the shooting of Senior Airman Roger Fortson on the 3rd of May, he had just got back from redeployment on the 1st of May, right? He gets killed on the 3rd of May. And I haven't heard or seen not one politician advocate for Black Americans being put in a protective class. Not one politician. Seeing that we had Breonna Taylor, who got killed in her house when she was asleep. Botham John was killed in his house when he was eating ice cream. Okay? And what's that brother, Audrey, when he was jogging, he gets killed. And let us not forget the Charleston 9 massacre that took place in South Carolina when Dylan Storm Roof killed 9 innocent Black Americans in a church at a Bible study. And you're trying to convince me that we don't have enough evidence to be placed in a protective class status? Come on now. Come on. Come on. Our politicians are betraying the Black collective. Our preachers, bishops, pastors, reverends, elders, ministers, evangelists, prophets, they are betrayed. They have betrayed, and the politicians have betrayed the entire Black collective. And I mean that. And I'm calling them out.
The political philosophy of Black nationalism only means that if you and I are going to live in a Black community, and that's where we're going to live, because as soon as you move into as soon as you move out of the Black community into their community, it's mixed for a period of time, but they're gone, and you're right there all by yourself. We must understand the politics of our community, and we must know what produce. We must know what part politics play in our lives. And until we become politically mature, we will always be misled, led astray, or deceived or maneuvered into supporting someone politically who doesn't have the good of our community at heart. So the political philosophy of black nationalism only means that we will have to carry on a political program of re-education to open our people's eyes, make us become more politically conscious, politically mature. And then we will, whenever we get ready to cast our ballot, that ballot will be cast for a man of the community who has the good of the community at heart. And the economic philosophy of black nationalism only means that we should own and operate and control the economy of our community. You can't open up a black store in a white community. White man won't even patronize you. And he's not wrong. He got sense enough to look out for himself. And you don't have sense enough to look out for yourself. The white man is too intelligent to let someone else come and gain control of the economy of his community. But you will let anybody come in and control the economy of your community. Control the housing, control the education, control the jobs, control the businesses under the pretext that you want to integrate. No, you're out of your mind.
Again, family, this is 1964 speech. The message to the grassroots. Okay? It's 1964. What he's saying in 64 is relevant in 2024, and that was just 60 years ago. 60 years ago. You know what was a revelation to me? That when we had that pandemic back in 2020 and everything was shut down and everybody was running to the stores, getting their tissues, getting their Clorox, getting their bleach, trying to get some food, right? And those cupboards, those shelves was empty, right? I personally went to the international stores, the Jumbos, the Mega Marts, and I went and saw that their stores had food. Their stores had supplies. You know why? Because they had supply lines. They had supply lines. See, Black America don't have no supply lines. We don't have no stores. They had communities where they eat and work and sleep. That is a community where you eat, you work, and you sleep. We got neighborhoods only where you sleep. That's a neighborhood. We're not building jobs. We're not creating jobs. You go to the Asian community, they have communities. They come in here to work, a store, yet they still have a store in their own community. So two families getting two different types of income. Our income, and then from their own neighborhood income. The Latinos, same thing. They build a store, right? Have different incomes. Their neighborhoods. What's up, Sister Star? I see you in the house. Brother Chef, I see you in the house. Okay? German towns, China towns. They have their own towns. They have their own stores. They have their own communities. When I tell you the light bulb came on for me during that pandemic, because if these other nationalities or ethnicities decide to say, we're no longer going to sell to Black America, then where are we going to go? And that's what Malcolm is saying, that, the thought behind being a nationalist is you basically taking care of your own, having your own stores, okay, your own places to shop, your own communities. When I tell you the older generation pushing this black group economic suicide based on spending, we got to shut that down. We have to shut that mindset down that we go to school just to get a job, just to be an interchangeable part inside someone else's business. If you're only going to school and you're not looking at a way to create business for Black Americans, then your degree is worthless. It's worthless if you're only becoming an interchangeable part into a system that don't even like you. I formed Lone Wolf to teach you how to shoot guns. That's a business. Okay? Brother Chef got his business, Bloodlines, producing documentaries. Okay? Going to have restaurants soon. Okay? I mean, we have to have a paradigm shift. We've got to switch some things up. Okay? We had to, family. Let me go back to Malcolm. Come on.
The economic philosophy of black nationalism only means that we have to become involved in a program of re-education to educate our people into the importance of knowing that when you spend your dollar out of the community in which you live, the community in which you spend your money becomes richer and richer. The community out of which you take your money becomes poorer and poorer. And because these Negroes who have been misled, misguided, are breaking their necks to take their money and spend it with the man is becoming richer and richer, and you're becoming poorer and poorer. And then what happens? The community in which you live becomes a slum. It becomes a ghetto. The conditions become run down. And then you have the audacity to complain about poor housing in a rundown community. Well, you run it down yourself when you take it down. And you and I are in a double trap because not only do we lose by taking our money someplace else and spending it, when we try and spend it in our own community, we're trapped because we haven't had sense enough to set up stores and control the businesses of our community. The man who's controlling the stores in our community is a man who doesn't look like we do. He's a man who doesn't even live in the community. So you and I, even when we try and spend our money in the block where we live or the area where we live, we're spending it with a man who, when the sun goes down, takes that basket full of money in another part of the town.
Family, that was 1964. Fast forward to 2024. You're doing the same thing. I understand the scripture now, without a vision, the people perish. A lot of folks who we thought had a vision, they didn't have no vision. They was charismatic, they sound good, but our situation is worse now than it was in 64. At least we had stores. We didn't have to really compete against the Latino community, the Asian community. At least we had some. We had more than we have now. Okay? We've got to reverse this paradigm. We've got to change this. And I know we hear this all the time, but our approach has to be that I look at the world like this. I understand that there's people in this world, right, who can imagine a world without Black Americans. But I can't imagine a world without Black Americans. But there are a lot of people, and you see it in today's politics, when they're giving monies, resources to the migrants or the illegal immigrants, and they're giving us nothing. They're demanding loyalty, but they're not giving us nothing in return. They can imagine a world without Black Americans. They're watching our children starve. Watch this. 2023, our government gave $66 billion to the migrants aka the illegal immigrants, right? They gave $12 billion to the veterans. How the hell you give $12 billion to the veterans, right? And you give $66 billion to people with no blood in the soil. Make that make some sense. This is what Malcolm's talking about also. But I digress. Back to Malcolm.
So we're trapped, double trapped, triple trapped. Anywhere we go, we find that we're trapped. And every kind of solution that someone comes up with is just another trap. But the political and economic philosophy of black nationalism, the economic philosophy of black nationalism shows our people the importance of setting up these little stores and developing them and expanding them into larger operations. Woolworth didn't start out big like they are today. They started out with a dime store and expanded and expanded and expanded until today they're all over the country and all over the world, and they're getting some of everybody's money. Now, this what you and I in General Motors, the same way, didn't start out like it is. It started out just a little rat race type operation, and it expanded and expanded until today is where it is right now. And you and I have to make a start. And the best place to start is right in the community where we live. So our people not only have to be re-educated to the importance of supporting black business, but the black man himself has to be made aware of the importance of going into business. And once you and I go into business, we own and operate at least the businesses in our community. What we will be doing is developing a situation wherein we will actually be able to create employment for the people in the community. And once you can create some employment in the community where you live, it will eliminate the necessity of you and me having to act ignorantly and disgracefully boycotting and picketing some cracker someplace else trying to beg him for a job. Anytime you have to rely upon your enemy for a job, you're in bad shape. He is your enemy. Anytime you wouldn't be in this country if some enemy hadn't kidnapped you and brought you here. On the other hand, some of you think you came here on the Mayflower.
Let me stop right there. Because again, I don't think that most of us don't believe that we're in a war. Now, every war is not always bloody. It's not always a physical war. As you can see, we're supporting Ukraine right now against Russia. We're also supporting Israel against the Palestinians. Those are mechanical. Those are wars. But we've been in an economic war. This country goes to great strengths and great liberties to give others who come here monies to set up shop, to put in our community so they can extract the resources. That is what you call economic war, family. And if we don't eventually summon the courage to start our own businesses, okay, the things we need to survive as a community, then we're not going to be around. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but we can no longer continue to practice Black group economic suicide at the expense of our children and ourselves, because nothing is stopping these people from saying, we're not going to sell to you. We're not going to sell to you because they already have a base. We keep believing they need us. No, we need them because we don't have the infrastructure in place. Okay? We need them. Okay? Star said Black businesses employ Black people, especially our brothers and sisters coming out of prison. Correct, but we don't have enough. I think that we have been so codependent on others for our survival that we don't even realize that we've been practicing Black group economic suicide. Okay. When you watch others come in here, they begin the process of building their communities. What do? They set their shops up, they set their grocery stores up, they set their phone, like their Western Union's monograms up, so they can conversate back and forth with the folks from their countries. Okay, they get their. I mean, they put things in place so they can hire within their community. We've got so complacent because we've built this that if a traditional store closes tomorrow, a Walmart, a Home Depot, or any restaurant, that's going to affect us because we don't, the cleaners, the nail shops, the beauty supply stores. We don't own this stuff. We don't own this stuff. The basic things we need, we don't even own the factories to make our underwear and our shoestrings and our t-shirts. The basics. Okay? This is why we've got to look at this thing differently. We got to change the paradigm. We got to shift in how we think. And I know we've been saying this for years. So this message from me is more so directed to the next generation. The next generation. Who are they? Those 15-year-olds, those 20-year-olds or younger. Because the older generation they're waiting for the Messiah to come or the Mahdi. They're waiting to be caught up in some rapture or somebody to come and help them. They're not lone wolves. What's that? What's that shirt? They're not lone wolves. No, they're not. They don't have that desire to build. They want to just sit back and enjoy the scene and watch us die slowly. We're dying slowly, family. While others around us are growing, we're dying slowly. It's a slow death. But death is still the death. But let me keep going.
If we bring up religion, we'll be in an argument. And the best way to keep away from arguments and differences, as I said earlier, put your religion at home, in the closet. Keep it between you and your God. Because if it hasn't done anything more for you than it has, you need to forget it anyway. Whether you are a Christian or a Muslim or a nationalist, we all have the same problem. They don't hang you because you're a Baptist, they hang you because you're black. They don't attack me because I'm a Muslim, they attack me because I'm black. They attack all of us for the same reason. All of us catch hell from the same enemy. We're all in the same bag, in the same boat. We suffer political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. All of them from the same enemy. The government has failed us. You can't deny that. Anytime you live in the 20th century, 1964, and you walking around here singing, "We shall overcome," the government has failed.
Man, he said a lot in that. He said a lot in that. But let me just say this. Oh, man. When he said they don't kill you because you're a Muslim or you're a Christian, because you're black, That goes back to my about Senior Airman Roger Fortson. They didn't kill him because he was a Muslim. He wasn't killed because he was a Christian. He was killed because he was black. Breonna Taylor, she wasn't killed because she was a Muslim or Christian, because she was black. Huh? Come on, people. Let's think about this. Huh? Ahmaud Arbery, he was killed jogging because he was black. We do not want to deal with the reality that it's a possibility, family, that you just hate it. That you're hated. That people literally hate you and your children, hate us and our children. But we don't reciprocate that. We always flip the hate to love. Let me say this right. Our biggest strength is also our biggest weakness. Our ability to love the unlovable is our greatest weakness. Okay? Again, Airman Roger Fortson was killed because I'm going to say he was black. Botham Jean, who was killed by Amber Geiger, sitting in his house eating ice cream because he was black. Breonna Taylor sleeping in her bed on a no-knock search warrant, shot her up because she was black. Okay? Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. We're in denial. We're in denial about us being killed. We're in denial about some of the history that we know nothing about. If I said to you, do you know about the Red Summer of 1920? Do you know about the Devil's Punch Bowl? Okay? Those events didn't even take place. They wasn't shown in the history books. But Red Summer, 1920, oh my God. They was killing black folks like it was wholesale. And it all happened, why? Because the brothers had just got back from the war. The brothers had just got back from the war, okay? And they was told, you may want to take your uniforms off, okay? And they didn't. And our white brethren got mad and went on a 26 state killing spree. Okay? A killing spree. I think you need to check out the Devil's Punch Bowl too. Mississippi. Okay? We don't know the history. We don't know the violence of this country. Oh, but yet we know it, but we ignore it. I'm a student of history. That's what I'm trying to get you to. I'm trying to activate you to do something. You don't have to have all the answers or even the money, but just have the will, the confidence to do it and see it through. Okay? That's all I ask. Oh my God. Let me see something. All right. Let me keep going. I'm about to bring it to an end soon. I see you, Brother Eli.
This is part of what's wrong with you. You do too much singing. Today it's time to stop singing and start swinging. You can't sing up on freedom, but you can swing up on some freedom.
And that's important too. Let me tell you why. Because where is the militant brothers and sisters at? We don't even like to use that word militant. We don't talk about the guns. We don't talk about self-preservation. We don't talk about protection. We talk about history. We talk about finances. We talk about housing. We talk about food. We talk about singing. We talk about the latest gossip. Think about the whole Puffy thing that's going on right now. How is that? How is it that this video of P. Diddy, right, is a national story and on social media, and nobody's talking about the death of Senior Airman Roger Fortson, who was just laid to rest on Friday, getting killed by a deputy? Why isn't this a national story? It goes back to this. We need to stop singing and start swinging. Stop the singing and start becoming responsible gun owners and gun users. Okay? But I know why we won't do it. Because our self-preservation switch has been deactivated. That's what it is. We're afraid. Our first law of man has been deactivated, which is self-preservation. And we need to reactivate our self-preservation switch. I've always said, and I'm going to continue to say it because I believe it, it's about changing the paradigm, that in times of war, you do not consult your preachers. They will pray for you. That's their job. You don't consult preachers in times of war. We're in war right now. We're fighting Ukraine and Russia, Palestinian, Israel, and we're having an economic war, okay? And we're having a border war. And these people that's crossing these borders are bringing their values and their culture. And if you really check out how they live, they don't know the laws. They are a law unto themselves. And some of y'all need to wake up like yesterday, and start turning on your self-preservation switch. Like Malcolm said, you go from singing to considering swinging. I'm not talking about no swinging. I'm talking about knuckling up. Get your rifles. Get your shotguns. Get your revolvers. Get your semi-automatic handguns. Why aren't your preachers and your civil rights leaders trying to get you to protect yourselves? Because they don't love you. The proof of love is the willingness to protect. Say this again. The proof of love is the willingness to protect. Let me say it more time. That the proof of love is the willingness to protect, and these folks are not protecting you. And they're not even hiding it. They protect everybody but us. And that's why I keep trying to push. Black Americans need to be in a protected class status, because we got enough evidence. Breonna Taylor, Botham Jean, Airman Roger Fortson, and the list goes on. Philando Castile. We got enough irrefutable evidence that we as Black Americans need to be placed in a protective class today. Okay? Brother, Brother Eli says, I feel that fear play a bigger part than hate. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Joe Madison, he parted, I think last year. He said something that I agree with. I didn't agree with him on a lot of things because again, he was one of my heroes, but he outlived his message. He said, fear will either paralyze you or motivate you. And we've been operating under fear for a long time. We've given out advice out of fear. And fear will either motivate you or it will paralyze you. And I can say that fear has literally paralyzed us as a collective, and especially the men. After Malcolm got assassinated and after King got killed, and after they dropped that bomb on the MOVE organization, Black people have just been fearful. The preachers went underground. They stopped being social activists. But it's a new day. I'm optimistic. I think I read a comment. Sister Sarge said, black business employ black people, especially our brothers and sisters coming out of prison. Yeah. So let me give one more excerpt of Malcolm, and I'm gonna bring this thing to an end.
Cassius Clay can sing, but singing didn't help him to become the heavyweight champion of the world. Swinging helped him become. So this government has failed us. The government itself has failed us. And the white liberals who have been posing as our friends have failed us. And once we see that all these other sources to which we turn have failed, we stop turning to them and turn to ourselves.
If Malcolm was alive today, and all you brothers and sisters who swear by the Democrat Party, okay? He said the liberals have failed us. And I believe that. Now, full disclosure, I'm an independent. I'm not a Republican or Democrat. I'm a truth seeker and truth teller. And what the liberals, what the Democrat Party has done to us is almost unforgivable. They've literally ignored Black America, right? And given everybody else what they want at the expense of the blood that we put in the soil. And I mean that. Now, I know some of y'all suffer from TDS and BDS, which is Biden deranged syndrome and Trump deranged syndrome. That once these names are mentioned, y'all lose y'all damn mind. Talking about picking a side. Well, one is a southern dog and one is a northern dog. One is a southern wolf and one is a northern wolf. You know? Black people, Black American situation has eroded under the leadership or the misleadership of the Democrat Party. And you say, well, what about Trump? What are you going to do with Trump? No, what about Trump? He's no savior. And Biden is no savior. Look, save yourself. Even the scripture says save yourself from this backwards generation. If you're not a Christian or a follower of the revolutionary teachings of Jesus the Christ, which I am, Peter stood up and said, save yourself, Black man, Black woman. You don't have to be beholden to no party. You be beholden to the truth, which is we have a historical record of who our friends are and who our enemies are. And let me say, I'm going to go on record right now. One man would not be the scapegoat for a system that has destroyed my people. Okay? Most of y'all, a lot of folks will come across this and they will swear by Biden and the liberals and they will come up against Trump and the Republicans. Let me say this right now. Say this right now. In this system, a white male dominant culture, they don't have permanent friends and they don't have permanent enemies. They get permanent interest. Okay? But I will say this. There's a book that I've been trying to promote called The American Slave Code in Theory and in Practice. Say this again. The American Slave Code in Theory and in Practice. And it talks about how slavery was coded in the law, that everybody of the dominant culture was on board with slavery, but they could not go against it. It was embedded into their psyche, and it's in their DNA. So we're fighting stuff that's inside people's DNA. It's been encoded in them. It's like that's not kill, that's not steal, that's not commit adultery, the Ten Commandments. We can kick them. We can just quote the Ten Commandments because it's in us. Well, in their DNA and in our DNA is that whole slavery piece, that whole master slave, oppressor oppressed. Okay, but I've broken them chains. I'm liberated. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying to you today. Whom the sun sets free, I'm free. I can say what the hell I want, take whatever side I want. I'm on the side of truth. Okay? Which is, I do the research, like Malcolm said. History is best rewarded to those who do the research, not emotional people. A man ain't got no business being emotional in times of war. In times of war, you ain't got time for emotions. Logical, whether it's economic war, psychological war, or a battle. Okay. Sister Star says, not everyone is going to make it, and I'm all right with that. Sister, I've said it once, and I've said it again, and I've gone on record. I will be walking over the carcasses of a lot of people, loved ones, family, and friends. Because in times of war, there are no permanent friends or no permanent family. It's interests. And I'm willing to go against family and friends in times of war. So yes, I will be stepping over a lot of carcasses because I know we're in a very hostile time that white folks are ready to fight white folks. Okay. And black folks are in the middle. Okay. I mean that. Don't get it twisted. White liberals have guns, says the gunman. White conservatives have guns. Black liberals have guns. Okay. Black conservatives have guns. Okay. Black Asians have guns, or Asians have guns. Liberal. Conservative Asians have guns. I train everybody, family. I train Jamaicans, Africans, Indians, Arabs, white, black, Hispanic, Jamaicans. They all getting guns. The very thing they couldn't get in their own countries, one of the first things they do when they get their visas, they go and get them a gun. And they go to the range, they start shooting. And they practice. Okay? Something that we don't do because we've been preached out of protecting ourselves. That has been the greatest betrayal of black ministers, that they have deactivated our self-preservation switch. The greatest tragedy of black ministers, outside of causing the wedges in our communities by putting us against them, So, you're going to have to be ready to step over some carcasses of a lot of people that you love. Some people can't be saved. Some people don't want to be saved. Some people love betraying the people or the culture or even society. Let me not get this thing twisted, family. You guys know that I am a retired police officer of some 27 years of one of the greatest departments in the nation, in the world. I'm a retired police officer from the nation's capital, Washington Metropolitan Police Department. Okay? And I did take that oath. I swore to defend the Constitution against foreign and domestic enemies. But guess what? I know that in this country, we got some beefs. We got some unresolved issues. You can't expect me to sit back and see you treating everybody else good and giving the benefits and then turn your back on Black Americans. You can't demand loyalty from me and my people and then ignore us for resources. How do you give $66 billion to people with no blood in the soil? And people with blood in the soil, you give them nothing and expect them to get loyalty. That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen, that Black Americans are going to maintain a certain level of loyalty when we're seeing that you're disloyal to us. Okay? It's not going to happen. Not on my watch. I'm training everybody, anybody, because I know that we're approaching some type of war. They ready to go, man. Y'all don't realize it. They ready to go on the inside domestically. But on the outside, you got folks in the White House and your elected officials ready to go all in with the wars in Ukraine and with the wars in Israel. Okay? We're being isolated by the whole world. We don't have enough bombs and missiles and airplanes to fight everybody. We don't. But we're going to fight. You're going to fight or you're going to die. I'm keeping it 100 with you right now on this Malcolm X Day of Remembrance in the era of Senior Airman Roger Fortson. You're going to fight or you're not going to fight. Okay? But we need to be real about the situation that we're in. 64 and 2024, they're different, but they're the same. Okay? So I'm going to need you guys to put some respect on Malcolm X. If you didn't listen to him yesterday, listen to him today and tomorrow. It should be a whole week of Malcolm X. If you're not familiar with the Senior Airman Roger Fortson, who got killed by the deputy on the 3rd of May, I need you to go and put up the news reports and the video and look at it and ask yourself this question. Why did we support George Floyd and we did not support a young, doing the right thing, Senior Airman Roger Fortson, who had an Eagle Medal, which is equivalent to a Brown Star, a Brown Star Medal, which is over a Purple Heart. Okay? That's what we need to think about, family. All right? So I think I'm going to leave it right there. I think I'm going to leave it right there. Again, I want nothing for the best of you guys, but I want y'all to wake up. Wake up and see what's going on. If Malcolm was alive today, he wouldn't be no Democrat, no Republican, but he would be calling out the Republicans and the Democrats. But trust and believe, his loyalty will not be to the Democrat Party. And I know for sure he would not be loyal to Joe Biden in that crime bill. You can say what you want. You can believe what you want. Again, history is best rewarded to those who do the research. And let me say this right now about that crime bill. Because I became a police officer in 94. Okay? The same year that crime bill was implemented. All right? We dealt with that drug epidemic from 88 to 98, 10 years. Okay? I was there, family. I was on the front line seeing the degradation and the destruction. Okay? I've locked up some folks with that crime bill. Okay? That 3 strikes was mean. Let me go on question. Let me go on record right now. There was a time when people talking about what Biden would be cussing and talking about he shouldn't say nothing. Well, Biden put a curse on Black people. That crime bill was a curse. It was written in stone and it was authorized and it was carried out. Y'all talking about this man cussing, which is cussing. I'm talking about a curse. And some of our brothers and sisters are still in jail to this day because of that crime bill that y'all have just forgot all about or just forgiven. A lot of good people were locked up because of that curse. And to just act like that wasn't a curse, You're almost taking you're almost sanctioning your own annihilation. What does Sister Star say? I lost a lot of friends and family members to that crime bill. I remember seeing all those grinning black preachers on TV supporting the president signing into law. Yes, Sister Star. That was a curse. That 94 crime bill was a curse. It still affects black people. Let's put it in context. It wasn't just a bill, it was a curse. It was written into law and it was implemented and it was executed. But look at what happened with the fentanyl piece. When fentanyl struck prior to COVID, they decided we need treatment. We need drug give back programs. I remember going to Columbia Mall and seeing a big old banner saying, drop your drugs off into this little barrel. I went to Manassas, Virginia, and the DA had sites set in place for drug, not buybacks, drug drop-offs, because that fentanyl was killing a lot of people. They was averaging about 65,000 deaths a year. But they didn't practice the same thing for the crack. It was all about enforcement and incarceration versus when the fentanyl hit them, it was about treatment. I don't have no short-term memory like many of us. I got long-term memory. Thank God for social media and Facebook, because I've been writing for years on social media. And the beauty about Facebook, it reminds you what you said every day that you wrote on their platform. And if you followed me for any length of time, you knew I was writing every day. Before it was a Twitter, before there was a YouTube, I was heavy on social media, heavy on Facebook, writing all my thoughts. I don't have no short-term memory. That crime bill was a curse. And for all those who got on board, you sealed your own death to your own community. You know, I was saying this to a friend of mine today, that when you recognize a people or persons under judgment, you move out the way. And unbeknownst to the black community, because we used to be the moral conscience of the nation, and in less than within 60 years, we are, oh my God, we're promoting sexy red and all things degenerate. In 60 years now, 60 years, we've gone from Rosa Parks to sexy red. Wow. From MLK to Diddy. Don't even discuss Malcolm. We discussing what? Comedians, athletes, singers. That's what Malcolm said. It's time out for singing, and it's time to be about swinging. You need to check yourselves. You really do. You really do. And you need to put some respect again on Malcolm X. And you need to look into the death, the killing of Senior Airman Roger Fortson. Okay? And I'm going to leave it right there. I think I did both these brothers some justice. I think I did. Okay? So with that said, I need you guys to share this video on your platforms. You need to subscribe to the channel on whatever platform you're viewing it. You need to like it, and you need to support. That Cash App is right there. Okay? Cash App, $ Lone Wolf Firearm. Okay? Training everybody to be responsible gun owners, gun users. Okay? Everybody. I don't discriminate. I'm like the Army, the Navy, the Armed Forces. Whosoever will, let them come. Come on. I'm going to train you. Because, we're in war, family. And in times of war, you don't consult preachers. You don't consult preachers. And I know, look, I speak that word. And I know that word. But this is not the time to be going to your preachers, because the preachers have been compromised. Most of them. If not all of them, most of them. Anytime you can't say nothing about the social issues, then you have been compromised. And that includes the imams too. The imams. Okay? So again, I want to thank you for tuning in. What does the say? Okay, I read that. You could be anywhere but you're here. And I appreciate it. Again, I want you guys to know this. That, family, we're in some very dangerous times. Very dangerous times. And this is a time to be serious. Like never before. Again, we live in a country right now that's ready to go to war against one another because of those two individuals that's running for office. And lines have been drawn in the sand. Okay? No matter who wins, it's going to be some type of fight. Okay? And I need you to turn on or reactivate your self-preservation switch. I need you to load up on your water, on your dried foods, on your batteries, cut back on your spending. Okay? Get you a bug out bag just in case you have to move fast and get out early. Keep you a full tank of gas. Keep you a blanket in your car. Okay, but you need to be serious about the self-preservation of yourself and your family and your friends. It's just that serious. Okay, I don't expect nothing from my civil rights leaders. They ain't said nothing. They're not gonna say nothing. I don't expect nothing from these politicians. They haven't said nothing. They're not gonna say nothing. They've literally sold us out. They've literally sold us out, and they continue to sell us out. But it's good news. There are some people out here that care for you. I got my man Chef C of Bloodlines. I got Sister Star. Okay. I got Brother Randy Short. Got Brother Q. Let's talk. Okay. Got Brother Twiz. Brother Vader. There's a lot of good folks out here who care about you, who want your best, who haven't succumbed to the foolishness. I got Brother Negro. The Negro is out here. It's a lot of good folks out here who are on the front line fighting, So there are some voices out there, but you got to go look for those voices. They're not going to be on your traditional stations, on your traditional networks, but they're out there. Okay. And you'll know them when you hear them, and you'll know them when you see them. Okay. So with that said, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Again, you could be somewhere else, but you're here. I want nothing but the best for you. And I always remember this. It is not how much you know, it's how much you care. You got a lot of people who got degrees. They're in these clubs, in these frats, these sorors. They know a lot, but they don't care. And I always remember this. There is a lone wolf in you, family. There's a lone wolf in you. Why is that important? Because a lone wolf can function without the pack. If he gets lost, he can still function. And you a lone wolf. If you listen to this, you a lone wolf. Okay? That mentioned Dr. Short? I did. Okay. So anyway, with that said, thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great evening, great day, and I'll see you again on these social media streets. God bless you. I'm out.